¿Cómo estamos, mi gente? Buenas noches. Buenas noches or good evening to everybody. We are on another episode once again here with your boy DSM Station on another episode of Let's Talk About It. No cap. So we're not gonna be capping in this show, okay? This is not fun conversations with sensation. This is another level. And tonight I got another special guest, aka also my co-host, and she's awesome. We've done this before, so she's not new
Yeah.
to this. And her name
Yeah.
is Miss Jasmine Zapata.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on,
Hi
Jazz?
everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely. Glad to be here tonight with you. Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you for being part of it. I know you just came back from NY. How was your
Right.
trip over there, by the way?
Um, Very interesting, very sad yet bittersweet moment. It kind of goes hand in hand with the subject tonight because I did lose a loved one due to part of mental illness and mental health. So it's a great time to talk about it. Definitely now.
And for everybody that's interested in knowing, like Miss Jasmine just said, vamos a hablar. We're gonna talk about mental health, la salud mental, y el
Mhm.
estado mental. All of that is important, and we're gonna talk about it tonight. And we're also going to talk about 50-50 relationship and all the things about a relationship because some people feel like 50-50 is not for them. Some people feel like they want to be 100% maintained. We're going to talk about all of that. Vamos a hablar
Yeah,
todo eso.
yeah, that's something we definitely got to talk about. I've been
So,
crucified for that subject. Hey,
I think we both have, we outspoken on the media about it. So it's interesting how this night is going to go. I'm excited to see it. Everybody, leave your comments, share the video whenever if y'all see this video after we go off the air, leave your comment, share the video. We're gonna read the comments afterwards, and if it's something that y'all want to talk about later, we can also talk about it on another episode.
right,
So,
absolutely.
so with that being said, Jasmine, like, what's one thing you could say is a major factor of why most people from minority families, from generations before us, never really seek help for their mental health?
I solely think information wasn't as available as it is today, and at their time, still today, sometimes, I think mental health was a taboo. Like any 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 seek for help, you would be looked at as weak or crazy. So they don't know about that. And the truth is you can't teach your kids what you don't know about. So I think that's why. And my parents are baby boomers, and even stuff that I say now, I'm like, listen, that's mental health. And they're like, really? And then I have to like speak it to them in a language that they understand because they come from a different time. So yeah, I think it definitely has to do with it not being available as information is today.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's a definitely a strong point.
Hmm.
And I also believe too that, like, due to the fact, like, resources. I feel like
Yes.
certain families from the minorities, or like specifically talking about Garifuna families, some probably had the the privilege, because I'm gonna say the word, the privilege of being able to step out of the country at an
Right.
early age in their life, but
Hmm.
like seeking mental health, it wasn't as affordable as it is
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like even if they probably wanted to go seek help with a therapist or psychologist, whatever the case is, probably wasn't feasible for most families back in the 70s or 60s, you know.
Right.
So I feel like there's many reasons why probably a lot of the parents, like our parents' generation or our grandparents' generation, didn't really have that opportunity.
Right.
Also, like, like racism plays a factor in it too. A lot
Hmm.
of times, certain things wasn't available to minorities, colored people,
Right.
Latinos. So it made it quite difficult for them to even get it, even if they wanted it.
I think some of that is still happening today systematically in America when you look at it from a bigger point of view, because um when you look at our jail system, we have criminals, but we also have people who are mentally ill and shouldn't be in there. You know, they need to be in a mental hospital, but because maybe they're darker or don't have the money or are not in the rich class, you get thrown in jail. So I think some of that is still happening today.
That is true. A lot of facilities did close. They did close up. You know, where the loloquitos, you know, where the people that needed help were at. They don't. There are not many facilities available to them, and it's true.
Right.
Like for instance, veterans. A lot of veterans suffer from mental illnesses, and unfortunately, until now, like my
Mm-hmm.
generation of veterans get the help that the prior generation of veterans should have been getting.
Right. Right.
So you know, it's one of those things that is unfortunate, but like
Mm-hmm.
you know, like things have to happen before they things get better. If it makes any sense. So
Yes.
the veterans before me, they had to suffer for so veterans like me or after me are able to enjoy the benefits that the government gives.
Right.
But unfortunately, like you know, the generation of baby boomers, veterans,
They had
well,
to suffer for y'all to
yeah,
get that. So.
and it's sad, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and like your parents being baby boomers, like they lived most of their life in Honduras, or they managed to come to the states at an early age.
So my parents came here in the mid 70s. They were both in their early 20s. So they got to see a lot transform. So the other day I was for the funeral, I was in the Bronx, and that's not the same Bronx I grew up in. It is, but it isn't, right? So
Yep.
I can imagine what was the Bronx, because I was born 89. So I can imagine there's footage now
89
that
squad.
what it was in the 70s. So I'm like, damn, I saw this? And they're like, sí, eso era horrible, you know. So they got to see a lot. Remember, this was prior, yeah, there was always drug use, but
Yep.
we know we stigmatize certain things, right, in our society now that back then wasn't even existent. For instance, HIV. That wasn't even a thing in the 70s. It wasn't discovered yet. So that's a long time to be here to see, wow, you were here before HIV was, like, how so I was born 89, and it's like, so they seen a lot. So I look at them, they're not super old, right? But it's a blessing to be here, being from that generation to now, because I can imagine the change that they see.
Fuck
So
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing to hear these stories. Now I'm in my 30s now, and I cherish them so much because they're the only piece of history I have left. Happy Land fires and stuff. I was here, but I was a child, and they were there to see it. So a lot of stories I do know, and I'm like, I know it thanks to them. You know, the population of the Garifuna community coming, you know, from Honduras straight to New York is now that we see people going to Texas and New Orleans and stuff like that. Back then, everybody came to New York and just made it happen. In the concrete jungle that it is still today. So yeah, there's a lot to touch on that.
No, you know, like the fact that you brought that up is crazy because, like, HIV did become very like popular in the 80s. You know, with people like Magic Johnson having it, he being a big superstar at that time. I'm pretty sure like it started in the 70s with that, you know, with the hippies and that generation where they were just basically fucking each other with no condoms. You know,
They definitely started that nasty shit.
it started from there.
No podemos disfrutar bien porque ellos lo dañaron, a saber que fueron a meterse y se jodió el mundo con infección.
I feel like it also has to do with that. That also connects to mental health. I feel like a lot of people cope with sadness or grief or any other issue that they're going through differently, right? So some people use sex as an outlet.
Yes. Yep.
To try to block their reality. Just like some people use drugs, some people use alcohol. Sex is also another type of drug, you know, that people escape to.
Absolutely. I agree. I've read on that, and I didn't believe it was a thing, but when I read on it, I was like, oh, okay. There's sex addiction and stuff that it gets deep. It definitely gets deep.
Oh yeah, like I honestly like I always wondered. I always wondered, like in the Garifuna community, right? I always wondered, like back then, like when there was no social media at all, when there was no computers, no nothing, like like how did they cope with like the stresses of being in the pueblo? Like I really wonder how did they do it, like hurricanes, like
Through
earthquake.
having 10 and 12 and 15 babies. Our grandparents was in those pueblos giving it up. Yes, they were. Estas abuelas tienen 8, que 9, que ahí no, papito, no había internet, no había cable, no había ni televisión. Ahí a las 9 los niños durmiendo y ya tú sabes.
Sí, palo de machuca, va. Honestly,
and not only that, I think with the stresses, right, that also came besides, sex and stuff, alcohol. A lot of our grandfathers were alcoholics and stuff.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So imagine being a man, a black man at that, right? This is Honduras, and you're a black man, right, in the 60s and stuff. So if there's civil rights issues here, you can imagine over there, right? And having to feed 9 to 11 children. You're going to pick up the bottle and see how to work this out eventually, right?
Facts.
Again, because of lack of, listen, this is depression. There's ways that they didn't have no information to tell them that that's a sign of depression. So, alcohol it was. And sadly, right? So now you're an alcoholic and you're creating kids. Meaning passing that in your DNA into these children, which is why a lot of our uncles followed what our grandfathers do, and then their kids. And to this day, you can go to a pueblo and see somebody under the age of 40 who's a full-blown alcoholic.
True.
And somebody will tell you, no, it says, nieto del finado, such and such, and he was an alcoholic. So a lot of these things are passed down to us through DNA and lack of, lack of awareness and lack of information, especially for that time. And to this day, which some of us are still witnessing it or paying for it in many social ways. Alcoholism is big in our community.
Yes.
And now that has elevated to a certain type of drug use, and that's everybody, right? I'm not saying just our Garifuna people are into drug use and alcohol, but now it's crazier more than ever. It's going on. And again, the beauty of not having social media. Ellos lo hacían, nuestros ancestros and stuff, but it wasn't recorded. Now, there are mothers who are alcoholics and drug users and wilding on, hey, everybody to each his own, right? But this is stuff that can be stored forever. You have a 2-year-old now, but in 10 years, that's going to be a 12-year-old. And that is going to be accessible to them. And then what? If I could change history, I would never want social media to be around when my grandmother or my mother was in time. I don't want to know what went on in their past. That's before me. Unfortunately, if we don't watch our actions, because now everybody's under surveillance. So, prices. Si te vas a poner a pija, drinking or your coke or whatever the hell you choose to do, it's not my business. Do it in an environment where, you make sure you're not being recorded, because kids have access to these things, and that's where bullying comes. So it's a domino effect. You see it?
Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah, because now they're gonna talk shit about your parents.
Right.
Like if your parents got a track history, and the kids find out, like, they're gonna be like, yo, and that's another form of bullying. Then then turns to some type of mental crisis.
I mean, I'm not a parent, right? But I do think that having unconditional love for a child is also has to do with you. You have to risk certain things to show or make it sense that you do love your child. Yeah, we're all adults. We can do what we want. But certain things I wouldn't do if I had a child, because I love my child so much. I don't want them to suffer when I'm no longer here, or when they're older and I'm here and my child has to come to me. Like, I saw a news clip of a kid that was suicidal because they wouldn't stop bullying him because his mother is on what's that website? OnlyFans.
Oh, oh.
You know, and it's unfortunate, like, you know, and it's just little things like that that we got to think about the next generation. There's a lot of information out there for us to become better people for the next generation. These are the kids that are going to be in charge of us when we are in nursing homes and shit. So
Facts.
we got to show, what are we showing them now is the question, right?
Oh, that's very true. Like, there's a lot of like way for kids to become misguided. A lot of misinformation out there. Let's start with that. A lot of like YouTube. Let's start with YouTube alone. Like, YouTube is so accessible to anybody. Like, I know they try their best to filter out certain things, but nowadays it's almost impossible. Like,
Right.
it's like kids will find their way to certain contents way before we even do. Like, I have my kids that they know how to use like tablets, phones, like they know how to like my pass. They memorized my password when they were like 2 years old, type shit. You know, like, when I was playing with a Game Boy, you know,
Yeah.
and watching Dragon Ball, my kids
Mm-hmm.
are literally using my computer and everything like nothing.
Yeah.
In my
These kids, these new kids are robots. I tell
yes,
everybody. Yep.
like I'm telling you, like all of that is one thing that I feel like some parents don't think about, and I feel like back in the days it was easier to keep tabs on us because they didn't have a lot to deal with, meaning like maybe PlayStation, maybe a Nintendo, a Game Boy late in the 90s, but early
Right.
on it was just TV. It was just really
Right.
TV, you know. And
It
then
was
they would
much
send,
easier.
yes, way easier. And that's why sometimes, like as a parent, like sometimes I gotta remember that. Sometimes I get in my own head thinking like, damn, like, you know, like I want to raise my kids similar to the way I was raised by my grandparents and my mom. And then I read a post on Facebook not that long ago that said, don't raise your kids how you were raised, because it's a different time, different generation. While whatever your parents was going through with you, that's not what you're going through with your kids. And I was
I,
like, fuck yeah.
I have a favorite TV show that I usually watch. It's called A Different World. It's a spin-off of the Cosby Show, where the later generation is going to college, and the theme song says that, you know, it's a different world than where you come from. So that always, and that's where I started to, right, not forgive, but kind of like not be as hostile when it came to my parents in raising me, because I was sheltered in a way where I was naive and I learned a lot of things late. And I blamed it on them, like, oh my God, you know, only if they would have just let me do this at an early age. But they were raising me the only way they knew how.
Yes.
Right? Which is the strict Pueblo upbringing. You don't talk about sex.
Yep.
You know, you threaten your child in order for them to listen to you. Just all of these toxic ways of parenting that, thank God, right? Some of us are still sane enough to realize that a lot were affected by it in different ways, right? So, yeah, when it comes to that, I always say they only do what they know. And I had to, so the rise of autism in our generation, because our generation are the ones giving birth to a lot of autistic children.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So when it comes to that, it makes me wonder, like, even in pueblos, we always have that one person in a pueblo that's not too right. So, okay, whatever. We know that person isn't right, but because we're not educated on autism or mental illness or nothing like that, we just stay there and if nothing is done about it, you know, which opens the doors to a lot of things, because ignorance will do certain, especially in pueblos. We know how that goes.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we see a young girl who is maybe autistic. Let's pray and hope that she has an uncle, a brother, or a father who's willing to be there to make sure nothing happens to her, because somebody will take advantage of her because they know she kind of slow. These are things that we see all the time.
Yes.
Due to lack of, you know, alguien se tiene que quedar con esa muchacha porque sabemos que ella es un poquito enferma, you know. And now, right, the beautiful part is that a lot of pueblos do have nurses and health places where you can go and seek some type of help if you want it, right? Travesía is one of them. I believe there's like a health
Yeah.
facility. Go there, and these things are good. These were things that were needed back then, but due to lack of knowledge, it wasn't there. So how do we clean that up now? When you know better, you do better. Now it's up to us to change how the next generation see. We see the mistakes that were made on us. We don't have to be perfect, but let's try to not make those mistakes with these kids while still installing the discipline and respect. Because I don't care how tech the world is going to get, discipline and respect will always be needed to the end of time. So that's
I agree.
something you teach each and every generation. If not, we're in trouble.
I always said that because I feel like I feel like learning your parenting style is something difficult. It's something that like at the beginning, your first 2 years of being a parent, you're gonna like try to do everything right, and there's no such thing. And here comes the criticism from our parents or our grandparents because they're gonna be like, "Oh, lo puedes hacer así, lo puedes hacer así." Yes, some consejos, some advices are good, but also one thing I feel like most parents from those generations fail to know is that like everybody gotta go through their journey. They like you gotta let them grow as a parent. Yes, you gotta let them grow as a human being. You know,
Yep.
and that's one conflict that I have with the past generation that I don't really share with them now. I feel like I personally seek help, counseling, therapy, especially when I did my time in the military. Kind of like
Right.
screwed with my head, like
Right.
my morality and ethics were being compromised, and growing up in a pueblo, growing up in a culture that is very like religious. Well, back then it was extremely religious, católico or evangelico, whatever. And you have to say si tío, no tío, si, after every sentence. And then now growing up and seeing all these kids just talking to their parents or talking to adults like me, like, sí, no, ¿qué te pasa? ¿Qué hay? Like, no, like, I have a problem with that where it triggers me sometimes because I feel like certain things must be taught. Like certain things should be kept there, and that's when you as a parent, you gotta know how to pick the good things from your parents and then learn your own style and combine them. And I feel like for instance, look what happened yesterday over here in Houston. Parents over there in the park, in the parque, like until 1 in the morning with their kids that probably look like they're like 2, 3 years old, 4 year old in the stroller. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that like our parents maybe did some pretty similar shit back in the days.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, back in the days, it was, I wouldn't say it was safer because the 80s was wild. The 90s had these times too, but when it comes to the Garifuna culture, like let's say Trujillanos or some places like Linden Park or the park by Van Cortlandt Park, those days it was safer. There wasn't like real gun action like
right. There was a fight, the most somebody, okay, maybe a knife, okay, whatever. But now they're shooting like
yes.
And y'all got y'all kids out here, which baffles me every time I go to New York and see once it gets dark, parents are over there and the kids are over there, and I'm like, this is crazy. In a moment of panic, you ain't gonna find your kids, sis.
Yep.
But I don't say anything because it's not my position to do so. So, but I do pay attention to that, and we have become a different type of people. Like I remember, like you said, it wasn't as dangerous. People were a little more humble before.
Yes.
Now everybody is like celebrity status or a gangster or and it's amazing to see because I don't know if that's American culture that poisoned us or our own ignorance.
I would say it's a combination of the two. Social media plays a big role in that. There's a lot of people that on social media they want to front. They love to front, so they want to pretend a certain lifestyle on social media. So that affects your mental health too. Think about it. If you feel like you gotta pretend that you have certain Jordans or certain Nikes day in and day out. That shit that shit adds up. Cause
That
then eventually,
you're basically an actor without pay. That must be depressing.
yes,
Imagine going to work every day and not getting paid. I'll go crazy too.
yes, yes.
You know.
That all that energy that you spend on trying to look for an outfit to impress people that don't give a fuck about you, it's just insane.
Yes.
Like,
Meanwhile, you ain't got no food or no way to. It's crazy. It's I don't know, but I think that's a worldwide thing. I don't know if social media is it. It's an experiment. I don't know, but people are really. It has really changed people's mental health. I agree.
oh yeah, yeah, that social media is diluting reality. Like,
Hmm.
it's just like the perception. Like, for instance, right? Like this talk show right now, we're talking about a heavy topic. I would say
Hmm.
certain people might take them, listen to it, and be like, oh, "Yeah, they're touching some valid points." Other people are just gonna straight up get offended. But
Right.
it's because certain people never been in touch with reality. Certain people, since they lost touch with reality since probably high school or middle school. So now they're
Hmm.
adults and they live in that fantasy. Y boom,
Yeah.
venís y le das un pijazo de realidad, and they don't like it. You know?
Or or there are people who have people around them who just agree with everything they say.
Yes.
Like
They
some
got a
people are
village.
good at picking out people who know they would clap for them in every
Yes.
bullshit they do. It's a form of manipulation as well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You
Narcissism
know.
101.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surround yourself by people that will fear you and will still clap for you even though they know that you're wrong.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right. And this is why I've learned that. Okay. This is why I know a lot of people and a lot of people know me, right? But friends I can only call few because when you're like blunt and honest, that doesn't really sit well with many people.
Yep.
Now I've worked on delivery because delivery has a lot to do with that. Great. And I've also learned to, just like you can tell people their truths, you have to be willing to take truths as well. I've learned that. But
Yes.
you gotta be a real motherfucker to be my friend, because when you fuck up, I'm gonna let you know. Look, I love you, but you fucked up. And also, when you're right, I'm also gonna be that person. What do they call people like that? A realist, right?
Yes.
You, and a realist doesn't have many friends. And learning that is a blessing and a curse. But you learn it that it's more of a blessing because now the people around you are real, just like you. Because everybody who's fake can't take it and they left.
Yes. A bunch of them. And a lot of times, a lot of these niggas are walking around us like,
Hmm. Yep. And it is what it is.
I like that's what I like your boldness, your straightforwardness. Like, I like that because I feel like even if it hurts, keep it real. That's just the only way we could become better people at the end of the day, by having someone that could put us in our place when we need to. I'm the
Hmm.
type of person that as long as you speak to me respectfully, I'll listen. You know.
And that's something that I had to teach the older generation as well, because they had a problem with that. They would tell you
Yes.
the truth, but they would tell you in a way that would hurt you. And I'm like, wait, you don't have to do that. Which is why I learned to how to be that honest. But then I had to learn on my delivery because this ain't the 50s. Somebody
Yes.
gonna punch in your face if you talk too damn much. So you gotta limit certain, because that's the way you speak. Yo no te puedo decir tampoco, mira, ve, estúpido, agarrate un lápiz y anda a escribir. That's the way they spoke to me. But that's not the way I can speak in public. You know?
Facts. Yeah, I agree.
Hand in hand with the topic today, the whole 50-50 thing also has to do with a difference in generation. I would love a man who would pay for everything and great. Like my grandfather or father, whatever. However, we got to remember that generation, that came with a little bit of cheating or a baby on the side. I can't take that. But if that's what it comes with, I don't fucking want it. I want to be that
Facts.
strong, independent woman that I brag about being online. And a lot of us women want to be that, but then want a man. Pick one. You can't be both.
Yep,
You
I agree.
understand? Because
Yes.
it's a different time. Yeah. You know, But you got to be able to obey. If that man paid for everything, you promise a clean house every day, good pussy and good food. If you don't want to do that, bitch, you better get a motherfucking job. It's 2023, and a lot of people like you want to be the spoiled princess. Look, if I don't want a man to look for his mother in me, I'm not gonna look for my father in you. Because my father's the only man that's gonna pay for everything, and not one, not even my husband. So we living in different times. We can't want both.
And that's the problem. I feel like certain people just never been in a real committed relationship. Like in a relationship where like there's a lot of compromising, a lot of like back and forth talking, a lot of like, you know, not settling, but learning how to like, okay, take the bad with the good or the good with the bad. So some women want to be like, oh, you know, my man got to take care of everything, or else why would I have him? That's not the point. What like it's a team effort thing. It's like the idea of a team. That's what comes into play, and a lot of people don't understand that concept. A lot of people want to sound very well spoken, educated, whatever you want to say, yes. But at the end of the day, like
don't know shit.
That's where I'm coming from. Yeah, no, we no cap, right? That's how we no cap. We talking straight up. A lot of people like I'll be like, okay, so
degree
like
don't mean shit. That shit means that you paid your student loans and you passed a couple of tests. It doesn't mean you know shit. You don't have
real life scenarios, real life situations. If y'all been through shit in your relationship and y'all came on top, that is what dictate a real relationship. You know,
right?
If your husband gets sick, what are you gonna do? Leave him? Cause he's sick?
Can I touch that? Can I touch that topic?
Let's go.
So my parents been married for 43 years, and maybe about 8 years ago, my dad got diagnosed with kidney disease, and the way my mother holds him down taught me the definition of oh shit, this is love. Stuff that the average woman today, my generation would not do.
Nope.
No, we would not do it. The shit I see my mother do for my dad, like, yeah, are you willing to bathe this man if he's weak and he's weak? He's not the same man you met. That's the challenge to love.
Listen,
I seen it. So, and not many women will be willing to do that today. The average woman today, if you can't pay for her nails, she's out.
Yo, let me. There was a time, I think you probably saw it, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a time on Facebook where like it was a post about somebody wrote, oh, if your man comes like at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, will you get up and make him something to eat? Most women didn't even think about it, and they just said, fuck no, he could make himself something to eat. And I'm like, you see, that's the problem with women like that. You didn't even stop and think and be like, okay, what if he's coming from work? What if he probably got out of work late, or maybe he went and he came from a trip? You know, the situation matters. But some women were so quickly to just jump and be like, hell no, he could make his own meal. That's you see, that's a toxic mentality.
Yeah.
If my wife comes from wherever she's coming late, I'll make her a sandwich at least, something. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, nah, ahora si ella viene de pijinear, that's different. Ella está pijineando que se compre McDonald's.
Mejor trae tu comida de afuera. Fuck.
You know, so I feel like that's the thing. A lot of people don't really think about how much deeper it is to be in a committed relationship, where you got to do a lot of like compromising, a lot of loving, real loving. You know, like you said,
selfishness, like selfishness, whatever fuck the word is. When you're not selfish, that's what proves whether, because we all have a level of being selfish, right?
Yeah, we do.
But at what point are you willing to like bend that for someone that you love? You know, I personally like to sleep alone. I love big beds where I can sleep alone. But if I'm with somebody, I gotta compromise. This is my husband. My husband shares a bed, right?
Yeah.
It's little things like that will show you if a person. Have you ever seen the movie of Bronx?
Yes, that one with the Italian and the black girl, right? Yes.
Remember when he tells him if she doesn't lean over and pull the door open for you, dump her. Because that means she's selfish. Listen, just like you got my back, I gotta have yours.
Yes.
Period. We're human. Let's take out the gender role. Let's look at each other as human for a minute. Wouldn't you want somebody to cook for you when you're home, man or woman? You know, I think society has put a lot of gender roles, and that's what fucked it up. Certain shit is gender roles, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of it is it's not just because he's a man. He's fucking human. Doesn't mean you're a servant if you give him a towel after he showers. You love him. That's your man. Give him a towel. Some women won't even do that because they like, I ain't your fucking slave.
Yeah.
This man is busting his ass for you. Look out. But
Facts.
that doesn't exist no more. I mean, it does, right? But very rare. If you have a woman who does that for you today, you're blessed.
Very.
Vice versa. You know, there are men out there who ain't shit. But I believe we are a reflection of each other. Men ain't shit because we ain't shit. You know? We ain't shit because y'all ain't shit. So how are we gonna fix this?
Thank you. Like, yo, where's my I forgot my phone. That's the part that I be like, I press the ding, like that noise. That was one of those moments right there. If I had my phone, I would have done that, because that's one thing.
We're a reflection of each other.
Yes. I've been saying that for the longest, Jasmine. I've been saying that if you got a shitty baby father, that's because you're a shitty woman.
Es que mierda trae mierda. Cuando uno lo dice, uno es malo.
It's the truth. Your likes, what you're into is shit, and you don't want to keep it real to yourself. You wanna
the first one. All right, maybe y'all were 15 and y'all were young. Great. But if you got 2, 3, 4 baby fathers who ain't shit, it ain't them, it's you.
It's you, exactly. And there's a bunch of them where like you keep giving a baby to a nigga that's a piece of shit. Whose fault is it? Is it the nigga that's a piece of shit, or is it you? It's like sometimes I feel like many people are not capable of being self-accountable.
No.
They're
oh my God, and that's where you lose people, when you hold them accountable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fast. When you tell people the truth that they don't really like to hear, like they try to like either come and throw something at your face to make you feel bad, because you according to them, you're hurting their feelings. You're not hurting their feelings. You're trying to help them from any more heartache. You're trying to prevent them from falling in their face when you know, like, yo, that nigga sucks. You're like at the beginning, you mind your business, right? You try to respect that person's relationship, but after a while, and then that person keeps coming to you crying, complaining, and then you be like, nah, enough is enough, and you gotta tell them the truth.
Yep.
After you tell them the truth, they stop talking to you.
Yep.
Mind you, they're the ones that came to you and told you their business. So now that they told you their business and you're trying to give them real advice, they can handle it. Have that ever happened to you?
Yes, absolutely. Try to give my advice, and it's like, and I'm the type of person that I'll tell you one time, tell you twice. It might not be the third time, because I don't like repeating myself. I don't have children to be repeating myself. I'm not repeating myself too much. Hey,
all right, I respect.
Up to you. And I always try to watch how I tell people things, because nowadays you gotta kind of sensitive people. So I tell them what I would do is X, Y, Z if I were in that situation. You know, and it's up to you to take. Now, sometimes I refrain. I stop saying anything like that. That friend or cousin who comes to you and says, "Oh, he keeps beating my ass." I gave you advice what to do. It's up to you. You keep coming to me. Eventually, I'm not gonna stay quiet. You know. Now, if he beat your ass and now you're in the hospital, it's gonna be hard. Bad for you, because I told you already. You know. So it's like, damn, I feel bad this happened to you, but now what I told you. Some people you gotta let them fall and hit the ground. While you trying to hold them up, they get mad at you for not letting them fall. So let them fall.
And Jasmine, like talking about the, like, let me ask you as a person, like, there's a pattern that I learned growing up that most women are into toxic niggas. Like they're into niggas that like probably will slap them. What do you think is that? What's the thrill behind having a nigga that will probably tell you, "Yo, Jasmine, shut the fuck up. Go get me a sandwich."
Um, there is a psychological reason behind it. You notice I smile when you say it. It's true. We all kind of do like that. I don't care if a bitch says she don't like that. She don't like that. We all like a little bit of that. A little bit. The problem is when it gets out of control and we can't handle it no more. Now he really slapping you, huh? Now you crying for real, for real. It was cute at first, right? But so there, I think that is there's this Netflix thing. It's called I forgot what it's called. I think it's called How Does It Happen or Explained or something like that. And it was a study that shows that there's a link in that between the psyche of when somebody tells you, that means they love you. This is why a lot of women are in abusive relationships and it takes them forever to leave. Then their mind is already locked that he beats your ass because it's a form of jealousy. You know that we like and some women don't know when it's too much, right? And they stay in those things. So there is a level to that. And when some men know that, they know how to manipulate it. It's very hard to explain, but there is a psyche that most women do like men who are rough. You notice how good guys we don't like. We leave him alone. He's too gentle. He's too nice. We all like guys to show a little bit of dominance. BDSM on porn. You see how that works? People like to be dominated.
Yes.
So when women subconsciously like that. But at some point, we want to be in control. It's weird. You see how unbalanced we can have both. Women want a king and a thug at the same time. Sis, what do you want? The good guy is here, but this thug is getting all your kids and everything. So this is why we end up in the situations that we're in now.
I, in my personal opinion, like I agree with everything you said. I just want to add to that. I also feel like most women have a false sense of security with niggas like that. They think that, oh, he's from the streets, he's really gonna protect me. Not really. I know a lot of like soldiers and a lot of like Marines, that like they really are about that life. They really are dangerous as fuck. They really know.
Yeah, they really will kill you like in your sleep. You wouldn't even notice.
They will protect you. Bingo. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where like certain women and ladies, by the way, I'm not trying to pick on the female gender here. I'm not trying to pick on women, but it's a certain thing that we need to talk about it. No cap, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like when you didn't grow up with a father figure in your life, you're quick to run to the guy that kind of makes you think that that's how a man is supposed to be. So you're quick to run to him because you think, oh shit, he makes me feel safe. He's made me feel good. He's gonna love me. No, that nigga's just working you until he gets that pussy. Right. Once he gets that pussy, it's over with. Right. Now you just another pedazo de carne that he could toss you around, or whenever he wants some pussy, he could call you because he knows you're gonna pick up that phone. He knows you're gonna pick up that phone.
Which we all become at some point. I don't give a fuck who's wife, who's girlfriend. Vos has sido gallina de alguien. We've all been there.
Yes, everybody like niggas have been. There are a lot of niggas that are community dicks, but I'm not gonna dive into that.
It's more acceptable when y'all do it. It's y'all get a pat in the back like, you that nigga, my nigga, you get pussy, fuck out of here. We do it. It's like, hey, you got too much dick now. Hold the fuck on. Yeah. Fuck wanna marry that.
I don't know what it is. I mean that's one of those things where like, look, that's what this might not sit well with a lot of people when I say this. But how do you want a guy to provide everything for him to be a king and everything? But you already been part of the community. Your pussy been more open than a can of tomatoes. Like it's like no se puede.
You look for your king in another community, one that doesn't know anything. Where you're trash somewhere, you're gonna be a treasure somewhere else. Fuck it. That's what I tell
Yeah.
people because that's like a Dominican man, right? Getting a Dominican or Puerto Rican, she the baddest bitch if you bring her to Garifuna party. But
Yep.
you don't know who she fucking her community. It works the same way.
Facts.
Just
Facts.
tighten your pussy up a little bit and stay over there. Don't come back. Bitch, everybody know you on this side.
Oh man, it's funny because it's like I'm gonna put myself in a little bit in the hot seat right now when I say this.
All right, we could do that. I'll put myself in the hot seat. This is fun. Hot potato.
Yes. Um, growing up, I was very particular with the woman I mess with. Very picky. Let's put it that way. You know, when you're growing up, you start developing your standards. You start developing what you like and what you don't. And sometimes you lose yourself along the way. Sometimes you just want to have fun. You want to get pussy, or you want to, do what you got to do. But as you get older, you start leaving traces. You start leaving crumbs. And sometimes those crumbs are not like washable, So if you fuck with a community pum pum and you part of that number, is that it's always gonna be part of you. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to a park,
Right.
Damn, mira esta ahí está con su marido, pues yo me la pisé en el parque.
Sam, why you play so much?
It's the
Oh
truth.
my God.
It's like us men, we in love with the idea that woman is our first. Like all men want to think that. We all want to have. I don't care what any nigga says. No nigga want to lay down next to a woman that's been passed around like hot potato. Like nah. Like it's like we want this idea of having a queen at home and still want to do.
I think y'all don't society like. I think because y'all taught that you could get pussy, but you don't marry a hoe. That's why y'all have it. But I think
Facts.
Niggas love hoes. We're gonna talk about that.
Yes.
I think some dudes, there are groups out there that think a good girl is too boring. So they want a hoe, they just don't want everybody else to know she's a hoe.
Facts, yes. They want a girl. They basically most men, we want a woman that could ride that dick, but at the same time she could read a book. It's weird. Like it's weird. Like it's like, okay, baby, put the book down. Come suck this dick real quick. Like
it's kind of like us. We want you to provide, but we don't want you to be a goody either, nigga. Like you're a little thug sometimes.
and I
see how that goes?
Bingo. And I learned that I had to learn that growing up. I had to learn that like most women wouldn't appreciate a good man.
Yeah.
Most women are not gonna appreciate a good man until they're older.
Yep.
Most women are not gonna appreciate a good man until their titties start sagging.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Most people might not like what I'm saying now, but it's the truth. When you're young and you thrive and you're doing your thing, you're going for the nigga that he looks like he got swag, that he knows how to dress, and he a thug, and that's what you like. But then as you get older, you want a nigga that could provide you a life insurance.
Yup, because now your ass is getting old and you want a house. And time is passing by, and now that nigga that you rejected, you need, because now he got two houses. It be our own fault.
Yes. I know I was extremely particular about that. Like I knew okay, I want to know your opinion on this, Jasmine. If a guy comes and asks you, when you first start dating, right? Let's say like 6 months into the relationship, he gets the balls to ask you, what's your body count? How do you answer that?
All right.
No cap.
No cap. How would I answer that?
Yeah. Don't tell me the body. No, don't say your body count. Just answer how you answer the question.
Okay. 6 months into the relationship.
Yeah.
I would ask him if he's okay. If he's sure that he wants to know. And I won't give him an exact number. I'll give him a rough estimate. more than 10, but less than 15. I don't know. You know, I'll give him hints like that. I won't give him a number. But I definitely ask him, listen, you sure you want to know the answer to this? I don't want you to look at me. I don't got no problem with you. It's you I'm worried about. Not about me. You sure you want to know? I'm that real.
Like that, I feel like that's I feel like that could like it changes perspective. Like me, like keep it 100 with me. Like when I dated, when I pretty much all the girls that I've been with, after a while I had to ask. You know why? Because I'm one of those guys that I take care of my reputation a lot. Like a lot. So like even when I did my shit, like I did my shit so underground is lower than the subway. You know, like
it's like I don't know nothing. You're like the most faithful guy that I know. In my family, he's a DJ and he wears suits. That's all I know.
That's pretty accurate. That's funny. That's
and he was in the military. His brother.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. For the people that don't know me, she described me pretty well, I would say. No, but keeping it real though, I didn't really travel around like that. Because I was always careful with my dick. I was fearful to get an STD. That was one of my biggest fear growing up. Having some type of STD. Like I never until this. Oops. Until this day, you can still hear me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Until this day, I've never contracted an STD.
Thank God.
Yes. And I pride myself on that because absolutely. I feel like something like your personal, like your body part, should be heavily guarded. Like you shouldn't just give out your intimacy out just like that. So okay, no black people from America should be listening to this clown. And who's that?
Oh wow!
I don't even know who this nigga is, yo. He's not a black American.
Wow. Okay.
This is interesting. I like that. That's from YouTube. Oh, this is the first time on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, YouTube.
Live. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm linked up to like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, I believe. Well, Xavier, thank you for joining me. That's one. Thank you for being watching us. And
tell you all. Anyways.
You're a clown. Okay, Xavier. I appreciate your opinion.
Right. Okay, moving on.
No, moving on, right? This is one thing that like I would say that there's also people just like that will always try to like make you feel that you're wrong just because they don't agree with your opinion. And that's one thing. Like, you know, a conversation should be had with open-minded people. People that are capable of listening and also giving their opinion without feeling offended. And that's one of those things where I like discussing this type of topics because it shows you where people's mentality is at.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things that like you don't have to put yourself in a situation where you submit yourself to people that obviously have a problem with themselves and they want to put that problem onto you.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
a projection of themselves. Yep.
Exactly. So it's just one of those things where like I don't want to lose my main topic what we were saying before. But I know I was talking about the relationship and taking care of myself and not going around like that. I know I was talking about that part.
Right.
So in one of those things is that like when you pride yourself in taking care of your image, taking care of your body, that's the type of people that you attract. Like we were speaking earlier, if you full of shit, you attract shit. You know, that's just the gist of it. And like I just like people that are able to be themselves.
I'm reading your comments and they're like my nerves. But anyway, going back to what you were saying, I understand your statement because That's a form of practicing self-love. If you love yourself, you're capable of loving other people. A lot of people want to love other people, but they don't know how to love themselves. It's another, you know, problem that I think are in marriages, a lot of relationships. How can I love you? I love myself, which requires me taking care of myself, watching where I place myself. Because if we get together, I'm an extension of you. So yeah, my past and my presence and all of that represents you because we're together. So when you think about it, that makes sense, which is why I think your family is so pure. I want you to put the family image because it's not an image, it's something that you really live. You understand? So I understand why a person would want to take care of their social status. You don't have to be a celebrity to take care of yourself in a social status. You just never know what you know. You know, I don't know if you see the topic. Not a topic. A news report. Young lady. She's about our age, 30s. She had a 14-year-old son who shot and killed somebody in her defense in Chicago. It was back in May. And the charges were dropped. Because the gun was licensed and it was a form of self-defense. She's a black woman. That was a surprise to everybody because it's like, oh shit, I should get away with that. But when I look at her background, she has multiple businesses. She's a great mother for her kid. She's educated. She wears glasses. She's just educated to the T. She has no prior arrest. Not ratchet. And I think because of that image, I had a lot to say. Because had she been or from the streets or had multiple arrests, they would have used that against her. She's been under the jail with her. But because she had such a good, the way you take care of yourself, you got to take care of your image. Not image, but sometimes you don't do things for society, you do it for yourself because they can save you along.
Yes.
In the long run, right?
Bingo.
You know, if that happens to you, you want people to say good things about you. No, you wouldn't do that. This is who this man is. All of these things help in investigation when it comes to crimes and stuff. People know who you are.
You see, that's where I'm coming from. You see, this is the type of dialogue I love. You know, like the all points of the conversation, right. Of all sides. You know, and like I said, respect goes a long way. If you approach somebody and you let people know how you feel about a certain topic in a mature, respectful manner, let's talk about it. That's what the name of the show is. Let's talk about it. No cap, right? But there's just certain people just don't know how to like convey a message. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to like communicate. And that's also part of the mental health that we were also talking about back in the beginning, where like people from like generation prior to us, they were used to just coming a certain way. Sometimes they wouldn't even talk to you. Sometimes they would just come straight and start hitting you, and they wouldn't give you a reason or an explanation why you're in trouble.
Right.
They just come, solo venían con la faja and boom, empezaban a pegarte out of nowhere, you know, o te tiraban el chilío, you know, te vergueaban primero y después de la vergueada es que algunos te lo medio explicaban, you know. So like, you know, growing up like that, like I feel like there comes a time in life where you gotta stop making excuses for people. Like also in relationships, in your personal relationship, you gotta walk in with a mindset where like you're no longer gonna accept excuses, you know, from anybody. Like you gotta.
And the way you're raised has a lot to do with how you go about your relationship. You do. There was a status aspect. Do you think that the way you were raised has to do with your relationship? And I put absolutely yes. A lot of us don't know how to communicate with our partner. We weren't taught that from you. You know, you try to tell your grandma, your mom, something you don't like. You were put on my piano. How dare you back?
Facts.
So we take that in. Now you're 21, 22. You know what?
You know what?
I don't want to say
I don't
nothing
want to say
because
nothing because
if I say
if
something,
I say something, I'm
no, say it.
no, say it.
Say it. You have
Say
to
it.
learn
You
to
have to learn to
communicate.
communicate.
The fact
The
that you
fact
think
that
you're
you
gonna be
think you're
wrong
gonna
is
be
because of
wrong
the
is
way you
because of
were
the way you
raised,
were
and
raised.
everything you
Everything
said
you
was
said
ignored.
was ignored.
You're an adult
You're an
now. You can
adult now. You can
communicate.
communicate.
So
Yeah.
this is,
So this is,
little things like
little
a lot
things
of
like
times
a
we
lot
give
of
each
times
other
we
the
give each other
silent
the
treatment,
silence,
which is one
which
of the
is
most
one of the most
deadliest. You want to kill
deadliest.
your
You want to
marriage?
kill your
Start
marriage?
doing that
Start doing that
because you're cutting
because
off
you're cutting off
communication.
communication.
I'm not a mind
I'm not a
reader. You
mind
gotta
reader.
tell
You
me
got to
what's
tell me
bothering
what's
you, and
bothering you,
something I
and
said
something
was
I
something you
said
did.
and I did.
A lot of us don't know how to
A
do
lot
that
of us
because
don't know how
when
to
we
do that
did, we
because
would
when
get
we did,
hit.
we get hit.
And
And
so now
now
you can't be
you can't
surprised
be
if your
surprised if
daughter
your daughter
is now
is
18,
not
19,
18,
20,
19, 20,
and she's in an
and she's in
abusive
an
relationship
abusive relationship
because she
because
was
she
told to
was
shut the
told to
fuck
shut
up
the
and she
fuck
was
up and
little
she
and
was little
she's
and
been getting hit.
getting hit.
So now
So
when she
now
goes to
when
a
she goes
man,
to a man,
that's a sign of
that's a
love
sign
that
of
she
love
knows
that
because
she
that's
knows
what she
because
was
that's what she
raised
was
with.
raised with.
Hence why a lot
Hence
of
why a
guys
lot
and
of guys
women
and
deal with
women deal
abusive
with abusive
relationships. A lot of it
relationships. A lot of
started at
this
home.
started at home.
Exactly. And
You
and
know.
I completely agree with that. Like once
Mhm.
once you been what's the word is there's a word for it when you've been like not accustomed to but like not groomed is for another scenario. um there's a word, specific word for it. It's not coming to my mind right now. But once you basically, it's like, some people, like when they get kidnapped, right? And then they've been with the kidnapper for so long, they kind of learn to like fall in love
Stockholm
with the kid.
syndrome.
Yes, there we go, like that. Yes, that one.
Yeah, you
And
kind of
I,
learn to love
Love
your
your
kidnapper,
kidnapper,
or you're so
or you're so
accustomed to it, you
accustomed
don't
to it,
even
you
see
don't
it
even
as
see that
torture anymore.
torture anymore.
yes, it becomes more of a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
you put it deep inside your mind, like, this by accepting the way he is, the way he treats me, he's probably eventually gonna treat me better.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
that's not true. Hello.
Right. I hear
Right.
you.
I hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So honestly, that's one of the things that I feel like has dragged down a lot of cultures, in the sense that, like, not being able to openly speak about how you feel about things and being judged or being put down even before you fully explain how you feel. That's the
Mhm.
problem. And I feel like our generation has been able to navigate through those waters and been able
Right.
to find a better way. I'm not saying that we have it down pat, because we do mistakes as well.
Right.
But I feel like we are more capable of accepting our faults, being like, okay, my bad, I'm wrong. Let me go look for some
Yes.
help. You know.
Yes.
And I feel like that's one of the issues that other generation, not trying to bash the other generation, but that's one thing I feel like they never got a chance, or they probably didn't want to work on. Because
Right.
that's where my attitude about, like, you guys stop making excuses for people come in.
Right.
Sometimes people just choose to be that way. Like, you could like take a horse to drink water, but you cannot force the horse to drink the water.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's just one of those things that, like, I hold most people accountable and stuff like that, because when you start making excuses for them, that's how they easily manipulate you.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
nah, I'm good.
Yep.
Yep.
And then about the relationship, about the 50-50 thing, I feel like una mano lava la otra, one hand washes the other. um I feel like if your partner is not willing to have your back 100%, like you have theirs, then why are you in that relationship? Why are you still
Right.
with that person? Like, you need to be with somebody, like you said earlier. Will that person clean your ass when you can do it yourself? Will that
Yep.
person like feed you when you can do it yourself? So it's just one of those things that you got to put in perspective.
Yes.
Yes.
Because some
Yeah,
people
and
only love you when you can do for them.
for them.
Once you can't
Once
do
you
for
can't
them,
do
that
for
shit
them,
is gone, and
it's
so are
gone, and
they.
so are they.
yes,
Sadly, a lot of people are married
People
to
are
people
married
like
to
this,
people
or
like
in
this, or in
relationships, or have
relationships,
children
have
with people
children
like
with
this.
people like this.
yes,
Um, and
And
it's
it's
unfortunate
unfortunate
because
because
I feel like
I feel like
sometimes
sometimes
so society
society
is weird.
is weird.
We're smarter
We're
now,
smarter
but
now, but
we have lack
we have
of
lack of
empathy
empathy
now.
yeah,
Like a lot of
yes,
a
people
lot of people
don't feel
don't
sorry
feel
for
sorry for
anybody no more.
anybody.
Like if
Like
you're out of
if you're
work
out of
for
work
6
for
months
6 months
and you can't
and
do
you can't
nothing,
do nothing,
I'm gonna call
I'm
you a
gonna call
bum
you a
in
bum in
2023.
2023.
You know,
You know,
versus back
versus
then,
back then,
you know,
you know,
your job as
your
a
job
woman
as a
was
woman was
hold it down to
hold it
people,
down to people,
right? Because
right?
the truth
The
is,
truth is,
I can
I
get
can get
to pay for
to pay
everything.
for everything.
Pero qué tal si
Pero
te
qué tal
morís?
si te morís?
Then what?
Then what?
You know, how am
You
I
know,
gonna
how
have
am I
my
gonna
back
have
with the
my
kids
with
now
kids
that they're
now
not
that
here?
they're not
So
here?
this is why I
So
feel
this is
like,
why I
oh,
feel
this
like,
whole men should
oh,
do
men should
everything.
do everything.
Sounds nice.
Sounds
It's
nice.
nice. I like
Nice.
it,
I like
but
it,
it's not real.
but it's not real.
You're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna reality doesn't work.
Reality
And
doesn't work.
in
And
50s and
50s
60s
and
when our
60s when our
grandparents did it,
grandparents did it,
economy was
economy
different.
was different.
Rent
Oh
today
yeah.
without
Today,
help.
without help,
If you have
you
any
have
empathy
any
for your
empathy
man,
for your
you're
man.
gonna feel
You're gonna
bad
feel
for that
bad
man
for
doing
that
it
man
all
doing it
himself.
all himself.
A real
A
bitch is
real
gonna
bitch is
get
gonna
up
get up
and help with
and help
something.
with something.
Period.
Period.
You know,
Hmm.
You know,
I want
And
to
that
I
spoil
want
you
to
the way
spoil
you
you the way
spoiled
you
me
spoil
too.
me.
Because if you have
Because
any
if you
kind
have
of
any
fucking
kind of
heart,
fucking heart,
damn,
then
how don't
how don't
you
you
want
how do you
him to
want
do
him
everything?
to do
Like,
everything?
take him out
Take him out
sometimes, and then
sometimes.
that's where
And then that's
bitches be
where
like, oh,
bitches
well,
be
you
like, oh, well,
lowering
you
yourself to
lowering
me.
yourself to me.
Sis, you got a
Sis,
fake
you got a
ass,
fake
and you want
ass
real
and you want
love.
real love.
It doesn't work
It
like
doesn't
that.
work like
facts.
You know.
that. You know?
So
So
I feel like
I feel like
today was too
today
much
was
about
too
the
much about
visuals.
the visuals.
Everybody got
Everybody
getting their
got
body
getting their
done, but
body
not their
done, but
mind,
not their
right?
mind.
And that's
Yep.
fucking us. This
Fucking us.
fucking this
Fucking this
generation.
generation. Us.
I love the fact that you said that because it's one of those topics like we're about to reach the ending of this episode, but that's one of those topics that I definitely like I want to further extend on because it's true. I feel like um certain like unrealistic standards for like people that are like regular people like us, just working people, hustling people, trying to get things together, just trying to provide for their families. And then I feel like sometimes it's a lack of consideration towards the man. I feel like not 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 every man is a bad guy out there. There's some guys that are really trying to do the right thing,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's quite difficult sometimes when you are growing up. All you've been hearing is like either you're not good enough or you're ugly or you're too short or something. So that that fucks up with your psychology, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And sometimes you grow up in when you grow up in a toxic environment where there's lack of support and lack of love.
You can't even
You
wear
can't even
cheap
wear
sneakers
cheap
where we're
sneakers
from.
where we're
You would
from.
get
Yep.
bullied
You
for
get
that.
bullied for that.
Exactly.
So imagine the
So
pressures
imagine the
we come
pressures
out
we
with as
come out with
adults.
as adults.
Yeah, I feel like it's unfortunate, but like that's the type of society that like we kind of were brought up in. Like I was like 50-50 Hondu, 50% America. I came here.
That's the
That's
best
the
way to do
best
it.
way to do it.
Yes, it gives
Yep.
you a different perspective in life for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, but I don't want no quiero seguir enlargando la conversación because you and I we could talk forever. And there's more episodes to come. There's
Yeah.
episodes tomorrow, Wednesday, and then next week. So like hopefully I could have you again on the show, Jasmine.
Absolutely. I'm here
Absolutely, I'm here
anytime. Thank
anytime.
you
Thank
so
you
much for
so much
having me.
for
This is
having
so
me.
much
This is
fun.
so much fun.
Yeah, thank you, and I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to another episode. And
Yes.
everybody's free to put their opinions and say whatever they want to say. At the end of the day, um, freedom of speech. As long as we're not
Yes.
saying nothing offensive,
Absolutely.
nothing towards the Constitution or the government, we're
Right.
good, right?
Right.
I don't think
I mean,
I think
I think
we're good.
we're good.
Well, thank you so much, everybody that tuned in. And if
Thank
you catch
you.
this episode after we go off the air, share, follow, like, leave your comments, whatever you need to say, leave it. Thank you so much. We respect
Thank
your
you.
opinion,
Sam,
and
thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
So much.
All right, later. Have
All
a good
right,
night,
later.
Jasmine.